Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope everybody is staying cool. We've had a few hot days here in the northwest corner of Oregon this past week, and a cool down's coming for a few days, and hopefully we can all enjoy that while it's happening. In the meantime, let's take a look at some online exclusive products, Cheers and Sips, because it has me thinking about nice cool drink, a nice strawberry lemonade, blackberry lemonade, something like that. And let's see who's on before we get started here. Hello, Tracy. So glad to see you. How you holding up in the heat? We've spent a lot of time in the mornings and the evenings on the deck. So, see, not looking too bad. So let's, okay, so the Cheers and Sips was released in the May online exclusives. It's one of those bundles and designer series paper that I picked up last month during the BOGO buy one get one half off sweet and sweet product sale. Hello, Jennifer. Well, I'm glad your AC is working nicely. Ours is working overtime trying to keep things cool, and right now it's 75 degrees in my studio. So we're doing okay though. All right. So, like I said, I picked this up during the sale last month. And I was also able to pick up the Celebratory Sips Designer Series paper. So let's take a look at that in case you haven't seen it. We're going to be using some of this tonight. In fact, we're going to be using this pattern and this pattern and this pattern right here. So that's one of the sheets. And that's a better look at that one. And then we've got this one, and this is the reverse side of that. Oh, maybe, yeah. Here's this one again. There's that one. Let's see. And then we have this one, and that's the reverse side of this one. And we have this, and that one, and there we go. All right, so let me get these other ones we're going to need right on the top here. Most of these I already have cut, but we do need to do some stamping and cutting on this larger one. But yes, for this first project. So let's go ahead and get started on that right away. And we're going to start with this. And I'm going to take the glass, one of the glasses. Well, actually, yeah, there's two stamp glasses. So we're going to take this one and some cloud cover ink. Let me get my little tool kit here for this. This is our ink pad color palette. I've got Darling a Duckling, Blackberry Bliss, Strawberry Slush, and Cloud Cover. We're going to start by stamping our glass with the cloud cover ink. Okay, and I'm just going to take this cup and I want this one right here. I want it to kind of look like strawberry lemonade. So that's the one I'm going for, and I'm going to go just above this splotch so that it looks like my glass has some empty space in it here. We'll just go like that. Okay. And then I'll just take a pair of scissors. And I'll finish cutting this out here. Okay, and then we can put that aside. All right, sorry, gotta get my stuff back where it belongs here. All right, so we've got that. Then we're gonna take the ice cubes from the Cheers and Sips right here. And again, we're gonna take the cloud cover ink. But I want these to be relatively invisible. So I'm just going to quickly tap off. If you put your ice cubes on the paper for too long, then you don't get any ink. So it's just a quick dab. And then we'll just put those up there like that. And that's what that looks like. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring in some lemons. And we're going to do this in, what did I use? That'd be good to know. We're going to use the Darling Duckling ink. Pretty sure that's what I did. I'm going to stamp that down twice. Okay, and then that is most of our stamping. Let's go ahead and stamp our greeting while we're at it. We need a very small piece of bubble bath for that. So let's bring in our bubble bath. And we're using the sentiment, "It's Your Day," and some Blackberry Bliss ink. Hello, Laura. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome. So let's go ahead and ink this up. This paper is very fun, and it doesn't have to be just for this. You can use it on anything, of course. I'm just going to stamp this down at the bottom. I'm just going to hand trim that out. Okay, so that is most of our stamping. Let's go ahead and finish that up. So now we're going to take a piece of strawberry slush cardstock. Okay, and we're going to take the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. That is part of the online exclusives. See, I might not be able to get it. I've already punched one out. It's okay. Let's grab that while we're at it. Grab it out of our thing here. Then you also need a piece of Blackberry Bliss, and you're going to take the 1 7/8 inch circle punch. This was just released in the annual catalog, and it just came back in stock. So the 1 7/8 inch we're going to do in Blackberry Bliss. And here those are. Okay, so we've got 1 7/8, 1 3/4. We're going to take this 1 3/4 inch circle, and the strawberry slush ink. And I'm going to take the little berry, raspberry, blackberry, boysenberry, whatever berry you like it to be. I'm going to ink it up without inking the stem. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this around the circle, just adding a little bit of texture to my circle. And just going to give it a little bit of a background. We'll just keep turning that circle until we've completed that. Okay, now those pieces are done, and that is all of our stamping. So let's go ahead and put our ink pads away, but not too far because I need them for the next project as well, some of them. Okay, let's bring in our Stampin' Blends. And we're going to take our little lemons here. I'm going to color the outside of the lemon here, the rind part, with light lemon lolly. And then we're going to go back and put in some in the center here. We're going to let that sit for a second and dry. Dark lemon lolly was a little bit too dark, so I'm going to take another little swish of the light lemon lolly, but I need that to be kind of dry. So we'll just put some in the very center and call that good. Okay, now we need to die cut these, and there is a die for that. And the trick on this die is it's not completely circular. It's a little wonky, and so is your stamp. So you want to find the part that's just a little bit elongated, and then set that so that fits, and you might have to go around a bit. And then you would give that a little bit of washi tape and run it through your machine. And then you would have these. Okay, so we've got 2 lemons. Now let's take our glass. Let's set this all aside. Let's bring in the mini machine. And our glass here. And we're going to lay this down. Line that up. And then we'll cut that out. Okay. And then while that's still in or on our machine here, let's lift this off. I'm going to take this glass and I'm going to take one of these lemons I'm going to tape this down right here, like so. And I'm going to put this back in the glass. Just going to lay it back, right back in there. Let's do that and tape it, shall we? That would be the smart thing. It's being a little persnickety with our little lemon in there. So I'm going to take another piece of washi, which I don't have right here. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to move that while I'm holding it, and there we go. Oh, man. That's the struggle bus. Why is this not still? Okay. I'm not sure how I ended up with only one piece of washi already cut off here. I had a whole bunch before. Okay, well, you don't need to watch me fight with that. Let's go ahead and put this back in here again. Get that just lined up in the back. Like so. And then we'll tape that and it won't move. And then when we run this through, our lemon fits right on our glass. So they look unit. Okay, and then I can take a little bit of liquid glue here. Oh, no, I want this. No, I don't. Never mind. Oops. I don't want it to pop out because I don't want it to look like it's outside of the glass. So then I just take and line that I just cut it on. And now my lemon fits right along that glass edge. Okay, so we've got that. All right, is that all we need for, no. Okay, so now I've taken from the Lovely and Sweet dies. These are currently in the last chance list, and they're, I think, on clearance for $9.60. And I'm cutting this, this, and this. You get 3 dies. Each one cuts a large and a small flower. I cut them in Bubble Bath and again in Blackberry Bliss. And this, by cutting it with those 2 colors and doing all 3 of those dies, we have enough for both of our projects tonight. Okay, so let's bring those in. For this project, I'm using the large in Blackberry Bliss and the small in Bubble Bath. Okay, and then also from that set of dies, I've cut this little tab die twice out of Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so I've got 2 of those. And I think that is all of our die cutting. So let's go ahead and put this away before I lose it. Okay. And it doesn't want to close up, so wow. Things are being a little stubborn tonight. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to put the backs together and I'm going to glue these as one. And that's just going to make this a sturdier tab. I'm just going to do that with a little bit of liquid glue. Now you could run that through with adhesive sheets on both of those, and then you would really have a nice stick. Okay, so that now is ready for our project. We've got all those pieces. Got our flowers. Let's go ahead and put those together. Bring in our silicone mat here. I'm going to take our large flowers, and I'm going to put a little dot of glue on the top in the center of each of these three. And then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to offset the bubble bath. Like so. Give that a little bit of a press. Make sure I turn that right side up. Offset that. Kind of felt like these make like little pinwheel flowers and give it more of a party atmosphere. So we're just going to do that. Okay. And then so I don't lose those, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my glue dots. Do you guys need more light, or are you doing okay? I don't have any lights on, trying to keep it, other than the overhead light. Uh-oh, that came right off of my piece there. Didn't stick. That's going to be a little bit sticky because that glue dot's a little bit bigger. Okay. I'm going to make it work though. Light is fine for you. Okay, good, Tracy. Thank you. So I'm just going to put a glue dot in the center of those flowers there, like that. Okay, I'm going to tear that off. And then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. Put my cap back on. Take your pick tool. And then I'm just going to give those a press in the center. And that's going to do two things. It's going to really seal that glue dot in there. And it's going to give my flowers a little bit of dimension. Okay, so now we need to go ahead. We're making a 3D project here. So we need to go ahead and make our box. But I'm going to go ahead and trim this out real fast. I'm just hand trimming it. I want it to be nice and close. Okay. And then we're going to take this tab, a little bit of liquid glue, and we're going to add that right there. Okay. All right. Let's make our box. Let's move all of these pieces out of the way, and we'll bring in our paper. So we have a piece of bubble bath, and this is 4 1/4 by 8 inches. Okay, I'm going to bring in our Simply Scored tool. This is my preferred tool for scoring. I'm going to start on the 4-inch side, 4-inch by 8.5, and we're going to score at, you can score at 1 and turn it, or you can score at 3 and turn it. In this case, I'm going to do 3 because it's just easier for me. So 3 inches each side, or you could do 1 inch each side, your call. And then I'm going to score on the 8.5 inch side at 2 inches, 3 inches, 6 inches, and 7 inches. This box is another resized version of the box I made last week that fit a gift card. This one is smaller than that one. This will not fit a gift card. But I sized it to perfectly fit our treat. So, again, like last week, I'm going to take and cut up on all the rectangles of the scores here. Remember, I'm cutting on the long rectangle side, not the square side. Okay, now you can hand trim from here if you want, but I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Trimmer. I'm going to fold in everything but the tabs. Okay, and I'm going to lay this in my track. I'm going to put at 3/8 inch. I'm going to slice those off. Okay, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to put it at 3/8 inch again. That's the long mark between 1/4 and 1/2. I'm going to cut those off. And that's just going to help my box fold more smoothly. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to angle cut on all these little glue tabs. Angling out toward the large rectangles. Okay, that's going to help your box fold a lot more smoothly. Okay, now let's go ahead and add our designer series paper. I like to have the larger section over here on my right. This one is 2 by 2 inches square, and this is 2 inches by 1 5/8 inches. And I'm going to bring in some of that designer series paper. Okay. So I've got a piece that is 1 7/8 by 1 7/8, a piece that is 1 3/8 by 1 7/8, 2 pieces that are 7/8 by 2 7/8, and 2 pieces that are 7/8 by 1 7/8. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and add all of those to our box. Okay. Just lay those in like that. These two outer flaps are going to be your box top and your closure mechanism. These two shorter sides that I'm putting the designer series paper on are the front and back of the box. And then those two longer pieces will be the sides of the box, with the large section in the middle with no designer series paper as the box bottom. Okay, almost there. Oh no. Okay, wow. Apparently we're going to have some issues with the internet again tonight. I don't know what I'm going to do with my internet provider. I'll definitely be calling them tomorrow. I get that it's really windy out there. But I need this to keep going. Okay. So there we go. So now I'm going to take my tear and tape and I'm going to put tear and tape on all these little tabs right up next to the score line so that I have a nice tight finish and no gaping on my box. So right up to the score line but not over. And that wind is a-blowing. I think they said we were having 16-mile-per-hour winds. It's kind of curious to how big the gusts are because it sure is blowing. Hopefully our signal holds out. Okay, so we've got that. Anything extra, just flick back on itself. And that needs to come out of there. And let's flick that back on itself right there. Okay. So now we're going to fold these tabs toward the box bottom. All the tabs will go toward the box bottom, making sure that you line your cut side up with the fold so that you have a perfectly square box. Shove those in there. Okay. And then we'll cut side to the fold, cut side to the fold. Okay, but you recognize this box from last week now. Okay, so there is our box. So what fits in this box? Well, I designed this box specifically for these dark chocolate lemon cream cups. 4 sugar per cup. And I picked these up at Costco last week. This is what the bag looks like. They come individually wrapped. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fold this down inside the box. Now, we're going to take this. This is where we're going to put our tab on. So we're going to take some liquid glue right up to the corner of that tab there, like so. And then I'm going to line that up with the edge and center it. And because I'm using liquid glue, I've got a minute to move it around to make sure that I've got it as centered as I think I have. That looks pretty good. Give that a good press. Burnish that glue. And then we'll close that up. And there's the start of our box. Let's go ahead and decorate. I'm going to take our Melon Mambo stamped piece and add it to our Blackberry Bliss. And again, because I use liquid glue, I can slide that into place. And then I'm going to add this to the top of my box. Right here. Like so. Grab the dimensionals. We'll add it to our lemon, or to our cup here. Put my glass on here kind of at an angle, like so. I'm going to take my second lemon and I'm going to put a little mini dimensional right down here at the bottom, like that. Then we're going to take just a tiny bit of glue on the other side. And, well, throwing it down doesn't help us, does it? Make sure that glue is where we need it. And we're going to pop this on just like that. Okay. So we've got that. Now, okay, you're back. Sorry about that, you guys. We have some pretty heavy winds here. Okay. And I am not. Okay, come on. Oh man. Okay, I'm getting a little flustered with the internet. Can you tell? Let's just tie this up. If I'd have known I was going to have internet issues, I'd have pre-tied this bow. Oh man. Okay, so let's go ahead and chop that off. Bring this in. We're going to grab another glue dot. Oh, Tracy, they are good. They taste really lemony and they're really good. And we're going to take this and put this right here like so in about the center of our lemon there. Okay. And finally, well, almost finally, we're going to take these. I'm going to stick one of these right on top of that bow. Lift this up, put my finger behind it, and give that a really good press. Okay. And then we're going to take one of these. We're going to put this up here. And then we'll put the last one here. And then to finish this off, we're going to take some iridescent pearls. I'm going to take the mini ones. I'm going to stick those in the center of my little flowers. Okay. And there we are, project number 1. Okay. So, of course, you could fit some other little things in there. I'm not sure what, because I didn't go looking, because I designed it for those, but there we are. I hope you like that project. Let's go ahead and get started on our card. Hopefully, I did quite a bit of this one ahead of time, so hopefully we can get this done before we lose our internet. Okay, so for this card, it's a fun fold card. Again, we're going to use some bubble bath. Here's our Stampin' Blends. We need some Blackberry Bliss. And what else do I need? Well, we need Strawberry Slush. And I think that's it. I think we just need those 3 colors. Okay, my sentiments for the inside of my card are coming from the right words. This is in the annual catalog, I believe. And then we're using the glass embossing folder from the Glass and Garden embossing folders. These are currently on back order, but they will be back by the end of the month. And by the way, the dies for the Cheers and Sips are on back order too, but they're due to be back next week. And then we're introducing Fright Night, which is a brand new online exclusive that released today. Okay, and for this has stamps. It's a rubber cling mount stamp, and then it has coordinating dies, and we're going to be using these 2 dies here, these frame dies out of this set. Okay, wanted to show you that those dies can be used for more than Halloween. Okay, so let's set these things aside for the moment. For our cardstock, we need a piece of, this is the 2-tone cardstock in Blackberry Bliss. Remember that you can get 2-tone card packs to match some of the Sweet Designer Series papers so that you can get 2 sheets of several different colors, and that's what I've done. So this is Blackberry Bliss, and we're going to be using the dark side of this for our project. We've got a piece of that Designer Series paper, and this piece is 2.5 by 4. I've got a piece of basic white for the inside. This is 3.5 by 5.25, and I've scored it at 3/4. We've got a piece of the Blackberry Bliss stock. This is the smaller label from the Fright Night bundle. And then I've got a piece of the regular cardstock in Bubble Bath. I've also got a piece of the 2-tone cardstock. This time I've used the light side. This piece is 4 by 3.5 inches. And what I did to get this was I put this into my folder just like this and lined it up, and then I ran it through, and then I turned my piece of paper around, and where it stopped, because this pattern does not go all the way across, where the pattern stopped, I put that back in, lined it back up, and then ran it back through. Okay, and then I ended up with this. Okay, and finally, you need a piece of white cardstock, basic white cardstock, and this piece I cut with the dies. So if you put the glass die with this detailed die, and you run those through together on a piece of cardstock, this is what you get. Then I took a blending brush with some bubble bath, lightly blended that on, and then dabbed on a little bit of the strawberry slush with the blending brush. And this is our glass, okay? All right. Sorry, I would show you all of that, but I'm afraid my internet's going to go, so let's just get this done. Okay. So let's take our piece of 12 cardstock, make sure we have it on our dark side, and then we're going to score this at 4 inches and at 9.5 inches. Okay, so again, 4 inches and 9.5 inches, and burnish that down and fold this one in. I got this idea from the box on how that box folds, where you have the larger side of the box folding over the shorter side, okay? But we're going to use this in portrait rather than landscape. All right, so let's go ahead and take this piece of cardstock, and we're going to add this. I'm going to use, I don't want liquid glue coming through those holes, so I'm going to very carefully put my Stampin' Seal down, and you do not want to press hard with this because you'll rip it. Okay, so we're just going to put this and center that up, and this is where you can really see that two-tone cardstock. Remember, this is the same piece of cardstock, but you have the dark for the base and the light for the top. Then we're going to take our floral piece of designer series paper, and we're going to put that right here. That's just going to go centered right here on this bottom section. Okay, so far that's what we have. Then we're going to take our Blackberry Bliss here, and I'm going to take the Rosemary from our Cheers and Sips. Right, that's what it's called. Yep, Cheers and Sips. Okay. Again, I don't want the bottom of this, so I'm going to just ink here. And then I'm going to randomly stamp around the edges. All right. Probably can't see that very well, but it gives just a little bit of texture. And then we're going to add this piece to our bubble bath piece. And by using liquid glue, I can slide this in and really line it up how I want it. There we go. So we've got that. Now we need to add this to our card front. We're going to add it like this, but we need to make sure when we add it that we don't put glue on this bottom section, otherwise we glue our card closed. So let's go ahead Put our glue in the upper 2/3 section. We'll lay this down like so. Center that up. And make sure we don't have any glue there, which we don't. Now let's take our glass and some Stampin' Dimensionals. We're going to add this towards the bottom here. Now we need to do a little bit of stamping. So we're going to stamp the umbrella top. Oh, is that blurry for you guys too? No, just blurry on my tablet. Okay, let's find my umbrella top right here. We need the umbrella top. We need some blackberry ink. Stamp our umbrella top. Then we need the swizzle stick or the umbrella bottom. And we're going to stamp this down. And then we need 3 cherries. I'm doing all of this in Blackberry Bliss. Whoops, got that too close. Don't get them that close because you need to color and cut them out. And then finally, I took from the More Messages dies, which you guys, you've seen me do this, where you just take a piece of white. Basic white is what I've done. And this piece is about 4.5 by about 6 1/4. If you go 6 inches, you won't get this last little bit. And then this is a single die. So you just put this on your paper, run it through, and then out pops all of these little sentiment label pieces. Okay, so I've taken one of those, taken this oval one, and I'm going to take the word cheers. And again, I'm going to take the blackberry ink, scoop these over, and I'm going to take this to the far right and stamp that down. Okay. Now, let's bring in our inside piece. We've got a little bit of stamping on here to do. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to lay this up here on the inside right next to my fold line. Right there. I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark that. Okay. And then I'm going to take it and fold it and put this edge up above the top. I want this edge so that it lays like this. Okay. Then I'm going to put that down and I'm going to mark again. Okay. So now this is where I want my sentiment within these marks so that when this is in, it'll be below the mark, and when it pulls up, it'll be seen. Okay. So I've got those marks there, and I'm going to bring in from the right words, I'm going to stamp to someone worth celebrating every day. And I'm going to do that in Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to center that up as best I can right there. Okay, now I also want a sentiment to show before it pops up. So I'm going to put happy birthday right up here. That also comes from the right words. And I'm going to do this one in bubble bath. So we're going to stamp happy birthday in bubble bath, and I'm going to go just above those lines in the center like that. Okay. I'm going to give these lines an erase. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the inside of my card. So I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal. You could use tear and tape. And I'm going to put it on the top portion above that score line. And then I'm going to lay this down in here, center it up right at below the score line. I need this to be able to fold shut all the way, so I'm just going to give that a little push there like that to make sure it's right where I need it to be. Center that up and give that a little push. Okay? And then when I go to open this, this is going to pop up. Okay? But I want to make this so it can be a gift card. So I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to put it right along this edge. And right along this edge. And you can use tear and tape. I did on my sample. It works. And I cut this so that it would be small enough. But it doesn't want to slide quite as easily as I would like. So I'm going to use glue this time. And then this should slide a whole lot easier. See how that works? And then you can, when they go to open it, they'll see happy birthday. And then when it pops up, they'll get the rest of it. And you can still stick a gift card down there. Oh, Tracy, how do they compare with the Peace on Earth dies? Let's see. These are bigger, I would say. They're a little bit more defined on the edges here than here. Let me find my Peace on Earth right here. Oh, my dies aren't in here. They're in the die container. Hang on just a second. Let me grab those. Okay. So here are the Peace on Earth dies. There. And here are the Fright Night dies. So you can see that the Fright Night dies are bigger and the shape is a little bit different if you look at that. Okay? You could almost nest those, but these would end up not looking quite right, but they are similar. Okay? That's a good question. Okay, let's put those away, out of the way. And let's get back to our card. Okay, so what do we have left here? We've got the inside finished. We just need to finish decorating. So we've stamped our umbrella. Now we're going to take that raspberry again, or blue, or blackberry, boysenberry, whatever. We're going to clean that off. And this time, Well, we're going to take the strawberry slush again, but this time we're going to stamp off. So we're going to grab that piece of scrap paper. Again, I don't want the stem. I'm just trying to add texture to my umbrella. So I want to stamp off and stamp on. Stamp off, stamp on, stamp off. And there we go. Okay. Then we're going to come in with our blending brush and a little bit of strawberry slush ink. And we're just going to go over the top of that. Okay. And then we're going to take our Blackberry Bliss Dark, stamp and blend, fill in there. While we have this out, we're going to go ahead and do our cherries. And I need 3 of them. Actually, I already have these die cut out, but there we go. So I'm going to put a little bit of black out here, a dark Blackberry Bliss. Then we're going to go with the light. Go over the top of the dark. Extend it out a little bit more. And then we're going to go in with dark strawberry slush. And we're going to finish that off and blend it all together. Okay. And there are dies for all of these, so you don't have to fussy cut. And through the magic of television, I've already done that. So there we are. There's our pieces. Okay. Now again, we had those, remember for the last project, we had cut 3 of those sets of flowers, and I said we were going to use them on this project. So again, let's bring in our silicone mat. This time we've got large pink flowers and small Blackberry Bliss flowers. Okay, so let's get our liquid glue. Put a dot in the center of each one. I dropped it and it ran. Okay, that's upside down. And let's turn this one a bit. There we go. Okay. Okay, so those little flowers are ready. Here's our cherries, swizzle stick, and our umbrella, along with our cheers. Okay. So we're going to take our swizzle stick. I'm going to stick this down in here. And I probably put that in the wrong spot. Let's see. No, it's only 8 o'clock at night, honey. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue. And actually, I don't need this whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and cut this bottom part off because I don't need it. and it's just going to get in my way. So let's stick this in here. Find a place right there like so. Stick that down. Get some, I'm going to cut the edges here. And we're going to pop up our umbrella. Like so. Then we're going to take a cherry. Along the top of our glass here. And a little bit of Stampin' Seal. Okay. Put this about right here like that. Okay, so we got that. Now, the last part of this is we're going to take some of our iridescent trim, and this is, I believe, on the last chance list. And I've cut mine in half to make 2 pieces. I'm just going to make a bow with this. Okay. Slide those bows apart there. Grab a glue dot. Put this here by the cheers right there like so. Okay. I'm going to take another one of these cherries. And a glue dot. Actually, I'm going to use 2. And I'm going to put this right in the middle of my bow there. Like so. Give that a press. And then we're going to take this one. Put some glue on it. And slide it right next to it right there. Like so. And again, we're going to put these on glue dots, our little flowers. All right. And I should pop them up again, but for time's sake, I'm just going to put these down. As in, push them down into the pad. Give them a little bit of, then we're going to bring in the pearls, the 2024-2026 flat back pearls. And I'll take your pick tool. And again, I'm going to take the small ones. And I'm going to set these right in the center of my flowers. Like that. Okay. Take your pick tool, give those a good press. And there is our second project. Oops, let's turn these off. We don't need these this long. Trim the tails of our ribbon. Okay, there we go. So those are our projects tonight. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed those. Oh, you're welcome. Happy to help with the comparison. That way you know whether you need both sets or just one. And those Peace on Earth dies will be those of you who are not demonstrators. Demonstrators were allowed to pre-order those. So, thanks for all the hearts, you guys. I appreciate that. Appreciate you for being here, for all the nice words. I do, everybody. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a great week.